to deporting individuals that aren't foreign aliens but are criminals to El Salvador. Does that include potentially U.S. citizens fully naturalized immigrating?
Yeah, that includes. And what do you think? There's special category of person?
The privilege of the writ of habeas corpus can be suspended in a time of invasion. So it's an option we're actively looking at.
We also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that they're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here.
I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not fucking going to El Salvador. With the stroke of a pen, Donald Trump's fascist regime has stolen tens of billions of dollars from people like you and I. They are forcing dozens of rural hospitals to close. They are stealing food and healthcare from the poorest among us. The fascists in charge have ballooned the federal debt, and tens of millions of Americans are expected to lose healthcare coverage just altogether and within the next decade. They have stolen all of this money from the futures of your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, nephews, your friends and family. They have given this money, over $170 billion, to Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, or what has become known as ICE. This money, under the big, beautiful bill, will be used to build over 100,000 beds. $14 billion is allocated for transportation and removals. 10,000 new deportation officers. They're spending billions for tech upgrades. They're spending billions on state and local cooperation programs. And they're going to be training more elite BORTAC agents. ICE has been tasked with extrajudicial extraditions, kidnapping anyone they deem undesirable. And this is usually Black, Latino, Arab, Native people, and deporting them. Oftentimes to countries that people have never even been to, have no familial ties to, have no business being there entirely altogether.
The Trump administration first deported 261 people to El Salvador on March 15th.
Protests come as Secretary of State Marco Rubio announces the feds have revoked hundreds of student visas. Rubio says the government has the right to rescind visas for foreign-born students who take part in demonstrations. A few days ago, ICE agents were caught on video taking a Tufts University PhD student into custody in Massachusetts.
We've witnessed where dozens of masked men showing up in unmarked cars, wearing body armor and pointing guns and rifles and covering or just removing completely their name badges and IDs, are kidnapping people at gunpoint and disappearing them off of the street in broad daylight. ICE has deported dozens of people to El Salvador who have never even been to El Salvador before. They have no connections. And Trump has said that he wants to keep sending citizens to CICA.
El Salvador claims it is Latin America's biggest, with capacity for 40,000 inmates. LA has said the prison cost $115 million to develop and equip. Video taken from inside the facility often shows prisoners tightly packed together with their heads shaved. It cited a study that found CICA inmates had an average of 6.45 square feet of space, which is below international standards.
Donald Trump has said that he doesn't consider citizens a special class of people, and that he would have no problem sending people who have been here a long time to El Salvador. People have been telling me for years that they're scared, that trans people will be rounded up and placed into concentration camps, that, state and local law enforcement will seize someone's kids for providing them health care when they're trans, that women will be sent to breeding colonies, just like in Handmaid's Tale. I have found that many use this as a sign to fall into apathy and despair. I hear talk of people wanting to flee the country, but I caution you that this is what the fascists want. They want you to be scared. And I don't blame you for being scared, because I'm scared too. But if you allow me for a second, I'd like to push back just a little bit on this apathy and despair. If you have come to the conclusion that one day the police, ICE, BORTAC, FBI, or even a civilian militia, a Christian nationalist militia, if you have come to the conclusion that one day They're going to try to kidnap you. Are you going to be resigned to fate and go willingly? Are you just going to follow with them, bow your head, take a knee, and just let them brutalize you? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not fucking going to El Salvador. Let's back up and follow this idea to its logical conclusion. If you have come to the conclusion that yes, ICE is going to kidnap me for being Latino, or the sheriff's department is going to take my trans kid away from me, or I'm going to be rounded up for one day from my political beliefs and placed in a camp, if you are just now entertaining the possibility that one day the state can and will and possibly may try to kidnap you and lock you away, first of all, welcome. The water is warm here. Second of all, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to resign to fate and let the masked men disappear you in front of your family, desecrate your home, deprive you of basic human rights? Or are you going to tell them no? Because, and here's the thing that they don't want you to think about too much, you don't have to fucking go to El Salvador. You can just say no. Fuck you. You see, fascists operate on fear. For anyone that is not in the fascist in-group, the party in charge needs you to be afraid of them so that you don't challenge their power. They go to great lengths to tell you through propaganda that your resistance is futile, that failure to comply with their edicts are terrorism, that you are an enemy of the state, you're a lawless, paid actor. Fascists need you to be resigned to fear because at the end of the day, they are made of the same blood, sweat, and flesh as the rest of us. They have families, they have names, they have addresses. They don't want to be There are a few good reasons to live in the United States, but as an American citizen, we have access as civilians to arguably the best and most modern small arms weaponry in the world. Say what you will about American culture, this is the one thing we are very good at. For $500, you can buy an AR-15, you can buy a 30-round magazine, you can buy 150 rounds of 5.56 NATO rounds. I have spent years, literally years, showing you all that 3D printed guns like this AR-15 right here are capable, viable, not overly difficult to assemble, and radically, they're just fucking, they're cool as fuck, honestly. They're just rad. You don't need a serial number for one of these. You can build them at home with basic hand tools. And they're made with oftentimes the same parts as law enforcement. An AR-15 is an AR-15 at the end of the day, regardless. Whether you live in California, Nevada, Washington, or Minnesota, you can order the parts online, ship them directly to your front door. Anyone, anywhere in the world could arm themselves discreetly and effectively if they choose to do so. Here in America, we have it pretty much made, where we can buy the parts to build an AR-15. You can install things like force reset triggers, super safeties. You can equalize the playing field between you and the officers. You need to consider the fact that a rifle is a force equalizer when it comes to defending yourself against a fascist regime. Everyone's scenario is going to look a little bit different. For some people, it might look like a Glock 19 that they start carrying with them in their waistband or purse. For others, it might look like a 20-inch AR-15 with a mag full of M85A1 rounds. It might look like a bug-out bag in your car. It might look like motion-activated lights or cameras around the exterior of your house. Everyone's situation will be a little bit different, but you better send bachelors and come heavily armed because I'm not fucking going to El Salvador, and you don't have to go either. The people that are taking your rights from you have names and addresses. And I assure you, when they show up to kidnap you, you don't have to go willingly. Thank you for watching. I hope I gave you some food for thought.